The breakfast will begin in 2 minutes. Please begin moving to your seats.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please start moving towards your seats, we would greatly appreciate it. We are going to start here in about 2 minutes with a formal portion. Don't worry, you are going to have time to get those donuts, and there's lots of them. So if you could make your way, I would appreciate it. Okay, please take your seats. We're getting ready to begin.
Good morning. I would like to introduce myself. I am Aubrey Welch, and I am privileged to be a part of today's event. Ladies, gentlemen, and our veteran guests of honor, we live in the greatest country in the world with freedoms like no other. To honor America in respect for all who have served our country to defend the freedoms we enjoy, especially those in our midst today, we ask gentlemen to remove your hats and stand for the posting of the colors and the playing of our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner.
Hold. Clap. 8. Reset.
Peace. March, bird. March.
You may be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Mount Vernon Middle School 8th grader Kylie Woods for this morning's welcome address.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's breakfast and thank you for attending. I'm honored to be speaking with you on such an important occasion. We're here today to honor service members and to remember the sacrifices they made and the courage it takes to defend honor, duty, and country. The writer, Michel de Montaigne, once said, "Valor is stability, not of legs and arms, but of courage in the soul." We're here today to honor our heroes and to remember their achievements, their courage, and their dedication, and to say thank you for their sacrifices. Thinking of the heroes who join us in the group today and those who are here only in spirit, a person can't help but feel awed by the enormity of what we encounter. We stand in the midst of patriots and family and friends of those who have nobly served. I'd like to ask service members and veterans who are here to stand. For those who may not be able to stand, we ask you raise your hands so we can honor you. Thank you for answering the call to duty. You have made our armed forces the most respected in the world. Students and staff of Mount Vernon Middle School, at this time, please approach a veteran that is standing, shake their hand, and say thank you in appreciation of their service to our country. Veterans, once a student or staff member has thanked you for your service, please be seated. Now, I'd also like to ask family members of any service member to stand. We know you've lived through difficult times and often take the heavy load to keep the home fires burning. Thank you for what you've done. The service members we honor today came from all different walks of life, but they shared several fundamental qualities. They possessed courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity, all the qualities needed to serve a cause larger than oneself. Many of them didn't ask to leave their homes and to fight in distant battlefields. Many did not even volunteer. They didn't want to go to war because they loved fighting. They were called to be part of something bigger than themselves. They were ordinary people who responded to extraordinary ways in extreme times. They rose to the nation's call because they wanted to protect a nation which has been given to them. Us, so much. Since the first shots of Lexington and Concord were fired and our Revolutionary War began, American men and women have been answering the call to nation's duty. Millions of Americans have fought and died on battlefields, here and abroad, to defend our freedoms and way of life. Today, our troops continue to make ultimate sacrifices, and even as we lose troops, more Americans step forward to say, "I'm ready to serve." They follow in the footsteps of generations of fine Americans. Veterans Day originally came from Armistice Day, and it was originally designated as a day to celebrate the end of World War I. The First World War ended on November 11, 1918, and the legislation that created Veterans Day was, and I quote, "dedicated to cause of world peace," in the hereafter celebrated known as Armistice Day. As time went on, we engaged further in conflicts during World War II and Korea. Veterans groups lobbied for change. Rather than honoring the armistice and only those who served in World War I, the holiday was now to honor all veterans from the United States. We've honored our troops in their service and sacrifice ever since. This week, people throughout the country will gather to remember, to honor, and to pay gratitude to those who have served our country. Our gathering is only one small spark in the flame of pride that burns across the nation today and every day. It's not a lot, but it's one small way we can honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice so we can live in freedom. Thank you for attending today. God bless you and your families. God bless our troops, and God bless America.
Thank you, Kylie, for those words. At this time, could I please have Theo Miller, 8th grader here at Mount Vernon Middle School, to the podium to lead us in recognizing those missing who could not be with us here today. As you entered the dining area, you may have noticed a table at the front, raised to call your attention to its purpose. It is reserved to honor our missing comrades in arms for veterans. The table is set for 5. Empty places represent Americans still missing from each of the 5 services: Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and Coast Guard. This honor ceremony symbolizes that they are with us here in spirit. Some here in this room were very young when they were sent into combat. However, all Americans should never forget the brave men and women who answered our nation's call to serve. That cause of freedom in a special way. I would like to ask you to stand and remain standing for a moment of silence as the honor guard places the 5 service seals beside each empty plate. You may be seated. I would like to explain the meaning of the items on the special table. The white tablecloth draped over the table represents the purity of the response to our country's call to arms. The empty chair depicts an unknown face representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, or marine, but all who are not here with us. The table itself is round to show that our concern for them is never ending. The Bible on the table represents faith in a higher power and the pledge to our country, found as one nation under God. Black napkin stands for the emptiness these warriors have left in their hearts, of their families, and of their friends. A purple heart medal has been pinned on the napkin. The single red rose reminds us of their families and their loved ones. The red ribbon represents the love of our country, which inspires them to answer the nation's call. The yellow candle and its yellow ribbon symbolize the everlasting hope for a joyous reunion with those yet accounted for. The slices of lemon on the bread plate remind us of their bitter fate. The salt upon the bread plate represents the tears of their families. The wine glass turned upside down reminds us that our distinguished comrades cannot be with us to drink a toast or join in the festivities of this morning. Let us now raise our water glasses in a toast to honor America's prisoners of war missing in action, and to the success of our efforts and account for them in their honor. Thank you. A big thank you to Theo and fellow classmates for honoring the missing. At this time, please direct your attention to the stage where the Mount Vernon Middle School Band, led by Mrs. Julia Holler, will be playing a song called Ask Not by James Swearingen.
Etched on a granite wall below a grave at Arlington National Cemetery, one can read the following words. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America can do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was born in Brookline, Massachusetts on May 29, 1917. Jack, as he was often called, was the second child of Joseph and Rose Kennedy, and together his parents raised 9 children. He attended Harvard University, where he graduated with honors. In World War II, he served in the Navy and commanded PT 109. When the ship was sunk, he risked his life to save his crew. Serving his country helped to shape his thoughts of the future of America's right to defend its freedom. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans. JFK was the first president that served in the Navy and the first to have earned the Purple Heart. Hear the words of newly elected President Kennedy as he prepared to face the uncertainty of what would surely become his lasting legacy. In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom. In its hour of maximum danger, I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. President Kennedy was an ardent supporter of the civil rights movement. He, along with noted activist Martin Luther King, worked long and hard to help bring about positive change. On June 11, 1963, he addressed the nation and proclaimed the following thoughts. This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. I am, therefore, asking Congress to enact legislation giving all Americans the right to be served in facilities which are open to the public: hotels, restaurants, theaters, retail stores, and similar establishments. This seems to me to be an elementary right. Its denial is an arbitrary indignity that no American in 1963 should have to endure. November 22nd, 1963, a motorcade of political dignitaries traveled along a 10-mile route that wound through downtown Dallas. Since the earlier rain had stopped, the plastic bubble on top of the presidential limousine was removed. Overflow crowds of excited people lined the streets and waved frantically to the Kennedys. At approximately 12:30 p.m., the car turned off Main Street. As it was passing the Texas School Book Depository, gunfire suddenly rang out in the plaza. Let us reflect on the events of that day and remember that life, as we knew it, was about to be changed. 2 of the 3 shots fired struck the president, causing him to slump over toward Mrs. Kennedy. The limousine sped off to Parkland Memorial Hospital, located just a few minutes away. However, doctors could do little to save him. A Catholic priest was summoned to administer the last rites, and at 1 p.m., John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, was pronounced dead. For 4 days, the world stood still while people from all walks of life mourned the loss of JFK. On November 25th, he was laid to rest. As people struggled to make sense of a senseless act and to articulate their feelings about his life and legacy, many recalled these words from his inaugural address. With a good conscience, our only sure reward, with history, the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking for his blessing and his help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
Without further ado, it is time for the food. We are so very thankful for the sacrifices of the veterans here with us today and for the support given to them by their families. Please enjoy breakfast on us and allow for us to serve you as our thanks to your service for us. Breakfast was prepared by Lanning's here in Mount Vernon and was made possible by generous donations from numerous businesses in our area, which are listed on the placements in front of you. Due to these generous donations, and the hard work of the staff and students, Mount Vernon Middle School will be able to host this event for years to come. At this time, those in need of special assistance can begin making their way to the serving line. If you need additional support, please let a staff member or student know how we can help. Others will be dismissed by table to head to the serving line. It is our pleasure to serve you. While you are waiting to be dismissed and during your meal, please enjoy the music provided by members of the Mount Vernon High School Orchestra.
All right, at this time, if you need special assistance, you can head that direction to head to the service line. We're serving out of both sides. You can walk down both sides of the table to get your food. That's how we get 407 people through the line and enough time for you to eat. We will start the program again, but keep eating. And if you need seconds, I'll let you know if it's out there or not. All right, I'll come to the sides over there, because if you're like me, I'm just going to keep on eating, okay? All right, so at this time, if you need special assistance, head that way. Otherwise, an adult will come and dismiss your table. Enjoy the food. Families and honor veterans. If you need something, we have ambassadors that are walking around, so you don't have to stand in line to get your drinks. If you just raise your hand, one of our ambassadors will come around and they will get more juice, water, coffee for you. So feel free to be seated and relax and let us serve you. This is your 5-minute warning before we're going to start back up again. 5-minute warning. Of course, you can keep eating, but 5-minute warning to be back in your seats.
We hope that you have had some time to enjoy your meal, but at this time, would Jenna Jerkowitz come to the podium to talk to us about Patriots Pen here at Mount Vernon Middle School?
Patriots Pen is a VFW-sponsored essay competition for youth all across America. This year's theme was, How Are You Inspired by America? We were encouraged to join the 120,000 students who participated in the 2023 contest by writing 300 to 400 words explaining why America inspires us. We reflected upon our own observations, experiences, and ideas about what makes this country so great when we sat down to write this essay. We also considered the sacrifices of our veterans who have fought for our country to protect our nation and what it stands for. At this time, Zachary Busenberg and Allison Brooks will read their essays that are submitted to the contest.
Good morning. Today I will be reading my Patriots Pen essay on how I am inspired by America. Throughout the world, people yearn for the freedoms that for some go unappreciated often by Americans. These freedoms include freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and many other personal liberties. In many countries, citizens do not have the chance to utilize these freedoms and are persecuted when they try to fight for their rights. We, America, have been fighting to keep these freedoms since the signing of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. From World War I to the Vietnam War to aiding the war in Ukraine, America has fought for our morals, beliefs, and rights. But also, we have not only defended these freedoms for ourselves, but for other countries that hold the same truths as America does. America knows when to help these countries because we ourselves have faced these blows to our nation. But even in our darkest times, we have risen back up and fought for what we believe in. These experiences help to form our compassion and unity for other countries and aid our allies in their darkest times. I am inspired by America because we are not afraid to stand up for what we believe in and what is fair and just. And for me, the most important thing I can take away from my country is not just the bravery and valor of our country, but how America's citizens risk everything to protect our country and its freedoms. When servicemen and women join the military, they are making an unmeasurable commitment to their country. Their commitment cannot be repaid, and every American should be grateful and thankful for this sacrifice. This quote from the former United States Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, states, "We take an oath to the Constitution, and we take an oath to the idea that is America, and we're willing to die to protect it." This quote is inspiring for me because it sums up the courage, bravery, and importance of each American soldier. Overall, America inspires me because of what America fights for every day, and our servicemen and women give such great sacrifice for our country, so that America can enjoy the freedoms that we are so privileged to have. This inspires me to fight for what I believe in, even in the toughest of situations, and to help others in their causes too. America inspires me to be a better person.
I am Allison Brooks, and I'm going to also be reading my Patriots Pen essay. This year's theme was, How are you inspired by America? America is another name for opportunity. This is how Ralph Waldo Emerson observed our country, and he's right. America, the country that accepted and still accepts countless refugees. America, that aids fellow countries in hard times and times of war. America, with freedom of speech and religion. America, whose people work to change injustices, prejudices, and brokenness. Americans bring the United States together. Proud, loyal people who suffer both small losses of time and whole lifetimes dedicated to serve. The way we offer even small services to each other, helping our neighbors, is in itself inspiring. Americans help Americans, not only other United States citizens, but other countries too. Our troops rush to aid allies without question. The veterans here today have gone through many years of harsh training, battles, or challenges, but they served valiantly, gallantly, loyally. These brave men and women are worthy of high praise for their honorable acts of service. And there it is, the all-inspiring way that we offer services and help to each other. Furthermore, we've attained a government that gives power to us, the people. We can govern ourselves and give everyone a fair voice. Not many countries can say the same, unfortunately. But our Constitution keeps our voice strong. We have rights, unalienable promises that keep our sweet land of liberty free. When African Americans were oppressed, Martin Luther King spoke out using his freedom of speech to initiate an end to segregation in America. Women in the mid-1800s used this power as well to grant female rights to vote in the same way. We've bettered this country, revised both small mistakes and large ones, fixed and repaired. This is a country that, when broken, heals because of the people. I pledge allegiance, America the beautiful, my country 'tis of thee. Our flag strikes into the hearts of many a sense of pride, freedom, and hope. America inspires us with its citizens and rights. This is truly a great country, and we have ourselves to thank for that. Our founding fathers, our veterans in active military, and everyone who used their voices to fix injustices.
Thank you, Zachary and Allison, for saying for all of us what is so true. America is an inspiration for not only those that live within our borders, but also a beacon of hope for those around the world. The veterans here today are an inspiration to all of us for their dedication and determination to fight for this country so that it can continue to stand for freedom and be an inspiration for those seeking just that, freedom. At this time, we will hear from 6th grade ELA teacher, Mrs. Trudy DeVolt, who is going to share with us a special opportunity our middle school students participated in to honor soldiers from Knox County that sacrificed their lives in the protection of our free nation during the Vietnam War, as well as to show our appreciation to their families.
At the beginning of each school year, I read the novel Cracker, The Best Dog in Vietnam, with my students. The book is about a German Shepherd that is donated to the military to become a scout dog in the Vietnam War. Through this novel, my students learn about the courage, the bravery, and the sacrifices the soldier made in the war. Ultimately, they also learn that those war dogs were not brought home. They were considered by our government at the time to be excess military equipment, and excess equipment was left behind. To honor those war dogs and all soldiers who fought in that war, we end the book by taking on a project. Each year that project is different. Normally, I know ahead of time what the project will be. This year I did not know, and not knowing was frustrating me. This is where fate comes in. My mom had just been to her 35th class reunion. Tom Wise, one of her classmates, had handed out letters asking people to help write a total of 500 letters to the 14 Knox County families whose soldiers were killed in the Vietnam War. Tom had already raised enough money to purchase banners with the faces of those 14 soldiers. He explained that those banners would be displayed downtown from Veterans Day until Memorial Day this year. He had no trouble raising the money to purchase the banners, but the letter writing part had become way more challenging. My mom knows the passion my students and I have after reading our class novel, so she gave me a copy of the letter Tom had handed out. My initial response was that it was a really sweet idea, and I sure hoped he got those 500 letters by the October 24th deadline. I went on with my days, still wondering what project I could do with my students this year to honor the Vietnam soldiers and dogs. Apparently this year, I was working with serious blinders on. The perfect project had been handed to me in the form of Tom's letter, and I had students who could help get those letters done. I asked Tom how many letters he still needed to reach his goal of 500. He gave me the perfect answer. He said, if the families received 10 million letters, it could never be enough. If he had said he needed 50 more letters, that's what my goal for our school would have been. If he had said 250 letters were needed, that's what my goal for our school would have been. By not giving me a number still needed, Tom had left it open to my heart. I decided 300 letters would be my goal. How hard could it be to collect 300 letters? We have at least 900 students in our school, so 300 should be easy. Boy, was I wrong. Knowing what to say to those families whose young men made the ultimate sacrifice in the war is even hard for adults. Asking kids who are not even teenagers is even harder. I was unsure how to guide them through the process. I decided to just ask them to write from their hearts. I printed off the banner pictures of those 14 Knox County soldiers and had my students walk by each picture and look into each face. We easily wrote 80 letters. A 7th and 8th grade teacher both had agreed to help, so I anticipated that 80 would quickly become 300. Letters trickled in, and we soon were at 125. That was not even half of my 300 letter goal, but no more letters were coming in. I tried telling myself that 125 was enough, but each time I walked into my classroom and looked at those 14 Knox County soldiers, I knew it was not enough. I challenged my team of students again. They told me knowing what to say was hard. They were not brave enough to face this challenge. They did not have the courage to keep writing. So I asked them, how do you think those 14 soldiers felt? How do you think their families felt? How about the soldiers fighting beside them? They were not asked if fighting and dying in a war was too hard. They were not asked if losing a son, brother, grandson, or best friend was too hard. They did not have that choice. That's when I thought of writing a poem to honor those lives. I shared the poem I wrote with my students, and that is when the magic began. The words my students wrote were so incredibly beautiful. Tears would fall down my face as I read the words they so openly wrote. 125 letters soon became a combination of 200 letters and poems. Again, I tried to tell myself that 200 was enough. Again, I looked into those faces and thought of those families. And again, I knew that 200 was not enough. What was I teaching my students if I gave up without reaching our goal? Those soldiers didn't get to quit. Their families didn't get to quit. Even the war didn't get to quit. I had to dig deeper. At this point, nothing was going to stop us from reaching our goal. I told my students that if I had to write 100 more letters and poems myself, then I would. I decided to offer the opportunity for students to stay after school until 4 o'clock to write more letters and poems. Many students stayed, and 200 writings became 240 writings. One student was on his 10th letter, yet he was still thinking of more he could say. We were so close to our goal. There was no way we could stop. Students would hurry through their classwork so they could write more poems and letters. On the final day, before Tom was to come pick up the letters, with 30 seconds left on the school day clock, the 303rd writing was submitted. My students cheered. We hugged each other and realized that together we had reached our goal. Tom said he did not know how to thank us. He could not think of a gift to offer that would be enough for the time and work my school did. I told Tom he had already given us a gift. This letter writing project was his gift. His service in the military was his gift. And fighting beside his brothers was perhaps the greatest gift of all. When students leave my room at the end of the year, I want them to leave being better citizens than when they first walked in. I want them to leave knowing they can make a difference. I want them to leave with the passion to create change. I want them to leave loving their country and the sacrifices that got us here today. Tom Wise still needs letters. He's short of his goal of 500, and we will be trying to get that information out to you as far as what you could do to send more letters to our school so they can be delivered to Tom. Thank you.
guests of honor, at this time, we invite you to come outside with us for a formal ceremony honoring those that have paid the ultimate price for freedom. You may want to grab your coats or hats as we head outside, as we will be there for a few minutes. The ceremony will conclude our events for today, and you will be dismissed following its conclusion. You may take your belongings with you, or you can leave them at your table if you wish, as you will have the opportunity to come back to your table to secure them after the ceremony. Those who are unable or wish to remain inside, please feel free to stay in the commons until the ceremony is complete.
All right, I'm going to lead you all outside. If we can open up those back doors right there, and then I will lead you out there. We're going to horseshoe around me outside. There's 400 of us, so just stay out back about 10 feet from me. I'd appreciate it. Maybe 15 feet. We got some space right here. Any right over here would be just fine. Yep, anywhere right over here would be just fine. Alright, if I could have this group right here, we still got people trying to file out here. You all could just move right over in here, I'd appreciate it. Right over in here. Good. Hey, listen. I'm going to try to talk as loud as I can with my command voice here. All right? So, we're going to make this quick because I know it's chilly out here. But this is my favorite part. Okay? We're going to recognize some of the fallen. And the reason it's my favorite part is because this is completely student-led. And the kids are going to be reading here, and the kids are going to be playing the music. They've dedicated a lot of time, and in their heads have thought about what this moment means for them. This Veterans Day breakfast is really special for me because when we started this back in 2018, we had 2 great years, and then COVID hit us. And we haven't been able to have this for 3 years. 2 of the years is because of COVID. Last year, I was not here because I was deployed overseas. So we're bringing it back, and we're going to keep having it because if you keep coming, we're going to keep feeding you. All right? But the biggest thing is we want our kids. Yeah. And if you know me, I love my food. But in all honesty, the best part of this is that our middle school kids get to see all of you and get to thank you for your service. And for me, the greatest generation that came before my service, I don't know how you did it. Just thank you so much for what you did. It's an absolute blessing that we have people that are willing to go out there and serve our country. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Nicole, who's going to introduce our students who are going to read 2 of those stories, what she was talking about inside.
Amelia Philbrin will be reading a letter that she had written to the 14 families, and Joanne Mahia will be sharing a poem that he wrote.
Dear family of a fallen soldier, I'm not going to say I know exactly what you're going through. I cannot comprehend something so terrible like your soldier not returning soldier. You're so young. You might think you can. Your soldier sacrificed his life so we can be free.
efforts and dedication to this project, we at Mount Vernon Middle School have chosen Tom to be the recipient of this year's Flag of Honor that represents the 14 soldiers of Knox County and his commitment to honor each and every one of them.
Your presence here today, and that of the people gathering all across America, is a tribute to all of our troops and that have served and to their families. On Veterans Day, it is important that we celebrate and remember those that have served and made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. It is a way to say we remember. From the soldiers who shivered and starved for their little brother at Valley Forge, the doughboys crouched in the muddy trenches in France, to the platoon who patrolled the hazy jungles of Vietnam, to the young men or women patrolling the mountains of Afghanistan. We remember and honor them all. We have awarded medals to many soldiers, added their names to memorials, and named buildings to honor their memory. But nothing could ever replace the loyal front line by a fallen service member, and no number of medals or ribbons can comfort the one who left us.
Right. That concludes our ceremony out here. Now, I know that some of you weren't aware that this was going to happen. We have one more thing for you. Now, if you're not able to walk about a football field, I understand that, okay? But that's about as far as we're going to walk. I invite you to follow me. We have one more thing for you. And then at that point, you'll be dismissed. You'll be back around here to the front doors and be able to head out. But again, I understand if some of you can't make that journey with us, we do understand. But we would love for you to walk with me, and then you are dismissed. And I'll leave you right over here. You're just going to follow me. Go back.